Hello again, gang. Sam here. I'm just going to talk a little bit about ritual. I'm not so interested in giving you a bunch of ritual scripts or something like that, as to talk about ritual in theory and in practice. Every religion does special stuff that is intended to draw the attention of the gods and spirits, to build community, to express the religion's particular understandings of the spirit community, the world around us, and so on. And it's important that ritual is performed well, that it speaks to the desires and hopes of the members of the community, that it expresses something of the awe and wonder that we see in the world around us, that it connects us, not just to each other, but to the divine, to the world, to whatever the issue of concern of a particular ritual is. So a little bit of understanding of the theoretical, like how ritual works and how it has been done in different places, rather than just doing stuff the way that we have always done stuff, is probably very helpful, especially for those who intend to lead groups, write and perform ritual. So I'm going to just quickly run through a little stack of books here on ritual, books that I've found very helpful in guiding my own ritual writing and performance and participation. I'll start with the Book of Mind. I know, monster of vanity that I am, but it's actually, I think, quite a good handbook. Creating Lore, Writing Ritual by Sam Wagar. I wrote and published it in 2012, and it's a lot of nuts and bolts. How to do ritual. Sabbaton calendar rituals, rites of exchange, rites of affliction, rites of passage, how to look at ritual. Ritual is a way of making meaning. It's a way of doing in the world. It's not just words. It's also experienced by the participants as being actions. Ritual is problem solving, and then about half of the book is sample rituals of various sorts, special purpose rituals. Seasonal rituals, and so on. It's worth getting. And I say this not just because I published it, but because it's actually a good handbook. Now, a classic work. This was written by Antonin Artaud in 1938. It's called The Theatre and Its Double. This edition was published by Grove Press. What can I say? This Antonin Artaud was one of the great innovators in theater. His understanding of theater as effectively a magical experiential ritual has been very influential, and his poetic and effective way of talking about the way that things like props, music, the words, the actions of the actors, and all of the theatrical experience can transport people attending a theatrical performance into another place to experience the world in a different way. That's what ritual is supposed to do. Reading Artaud gave me a deeper understanding of the energetic movement and processes underlying an effective ritual. It's a very good book to read. It's evocative rather than prescriptive. There's very little specific detail about how to set things up, how to move props around and so on in here, but a great deal about the spirit and the energy. It's a good book for that. Now, two academic books. This is Teaching Ritual, edited by Catherine Bell, published in 2007 by Oxford University Press. Catherine Bell was the most important modern writer on ritual. Brilliant writer. Very, very. Her more academic work is a little chewy, I'll have to say. This is a collection of pieces by people who teach ritual academically in different locations and with different approaches. So it'll gives you an excellent sample of ways to teach and talk about and use ritual, specifically academically. But there's an awful lot of valuable tips here on how ritual works that you can apply to ritual writing and performance as well. A very useful book. For straight up theory, for those of you who want to dive into the academic pool head first, Ritual, Perspectives and Dimensions by Catherine Bell, published by Oxford University Press, 1997. This is an absolutely brilliant and rather dense book dealing with all of the aspects of ritual, theoretical and academic aspects of ritual. Myth, early theories and theorists. She does an excellent summary of people who have written and thought about ritual and what they had to say. Phenomenology, ritual in society. So she talks about the sociological and anthropological understandings of ritual, structuralism, magic, ritual symbols, syntax, and praxis, cultural meaning. Just a wonderful academic book. The ritual life in oral and literate societies, church, sect, and cult, ritual change and transformation, the way that ritual reifies, brings back and forward ideas about power, and just a wonderful book. Definitely for those who are very academically inclined and have an academic background in some of this work, I would say. For those who wish to do ritual, write and perform ritual, Emerging Ritual in Secular Societies, a Transdisciplinary Conversation, edited by Jetje Gordon-Lennox, published by Jessica Kingsley Publishers in 2017. This is a very handy book for those who want to do ritual that isn't necessarily religious, or for a mixed religion and secular audience. A number of case studies and a number of details of how ritual works. Some theoretical stuff, some practical case studies of doing ritual. Say one here: a funeral ceremony for a violinist, a wedding ceremony for humanists. The use of food in ritual and contemporary art. A helpful handbook. Tips in here, even for those of us who principally or exclusively do religious ritual as well. I found it quite readable, a wide range of examples and ideas, a useful book. Some classics, classic studies in ritual. I'll just very briefly mention, if you're interested in the academic study of ritual or in anthropological approaches, you really have to read at least Jonathan Z. Smith, Imagining Religion from Babylon to Jonestown, is a fascinating collection of essays published by University of Chicago in 1982. Some of the essays are quite a bit older. In particular, he doesn't shy away from acknowledging that religion is often the source of great evil, that it is a way of building communities centered on cult leaders or figures. Particularly, he does an excellent analysis of how James Jones and his cult developed. Still talks about Judaism, talks about the rediscovery and redescription of canon, talks about how ritual works, nuts and bolts in the basics, mythology and history. He's very strongly interested in a comparative approach, so he thinks that it's important to compare different religions' understandings of similar practices. Writes well, really quite interesting, and foundational. It's foundational work. Another foundational writer who came up with some of the key notions in ritual, the ideas of liminence, get me here. The Ritual Process, Structure and Anti-Structure by Victor Turner, published 1969. This is a republication in 2007. He came up with the description of liminality and communitas, key notions. The notion that ritual takes you into a space in between realities in which you are transformed into a different kind of person before you emerge again. Rituals of initiation in particular do that. He tends to follow after Van Gennep and his notion of a three stages of ritual: the separation, the liminal stage, and the reincorporation stage. He also makes the point that in ritual, in community, all of us lose our distinctions. So if you're in the process of becoming initiated, say initiated into Lakumi, every person must wear the same kind of clothing and have the same experiences, regardless of whether you are a lawyer, a mechanic, a housewife, an exotic dancer. All people become the same in communitas. It's just what can I say? Foundational ideas, an excellent book, well written. If you're interested in academic studies of religion or of ritual in particular, you must read Victor Turner. A more recent a scholar with a what you call a cognitive, scientific understanding of religious transmission is Harvey Whitehouse. His book, Modes of Religiosity, A Cognitive Theory of Religious Transmission, published by Altamira Press in 2004. Just a wonderful theoretical approach. He talks about different modes of by which religious ideas are encoded in our brains, so that an idea that, like, for example, the Trinity or transubstantiation, to take two Christian ideas, become normal to us rather than being sort of weird and odd ideas. We incorporate them into our understanding of the world at large, and we come to see the world through those lenses. Well, how does that happen? It happens through ritual, and it happens through different types of ritual. There's doctrinal ritual, like, for example, you go to a Christian church and some guy stands up, usually some guy, stands up front and talks to you for a while and repeats the same basic points over and over again over the course of a year of attending these weekly ceremonies. That's a doctrinal approach. In that way, stuff sort of sinks into you without a great deal of emotional loading, so that it comes to be seen as just a normal way of thinking of the world. That's one approach, doctrinal approach. It's great for building large communities of people who don't know each other very well and don't have an intense attachment to one another. Then there's another approach, which he calls, imagistic, which is often the way that initiation ceremonies happen, where you go and you undergo an extreme and intense, often frightening or painful or disgusting experience as part of an initiation rite with no explanation at all. You just put in there and these things happen to you. This is common in magical communities. Magical rituals will give you this intense emotional experience, and you have to reflect on it over a period of time and gradually come to understand what was going on. You understand it because often after you're an initiate, you help to initiate other people. You lead them through these experiences that you have had. So, and these two modes, the doctrinal mode doesn't create a great deal of strong attraction and connection, but it creates a larger community. The intense imagistic mode creates experiences that tie people together very tightly and have a great deal of emotional loading, but it doesn't work with really large groups. You have to find some way of bringing both of these types of experience together. It's a little technical maybe, but I found his discussion of these modes of experience and of ritual very, very useful. And I will recommend Whitehouse's book to those who wish to write and lead effective, powerful ritual for their communities. And the last one, just a quick general survey. If you're interested in sort of a broad survey of ideas about ritual, who were the people who had the big ideas, and who learned from them, and that kind of thing. Ritual: Key Concepts in Religion, by Pamela, Stewart and Andrew Strathern, published by Bloomsbury a couple of years ago. Let's see when it was. 2014. Bloomsbury is a good academic publisher. I've liked quite a lot of stuff that I've read from them. This book is, like I say, it's a general survey. It's key concepts. So what is ritual, and what have various people said about it historically? Mostly, almost all, by the way, in Western Europe. There's virtually nothing in here from such interesting thinkers as, say, Deepesh Chakrabarty from India, or even the Theosophists. But it's a good place to start. It'll give you some idea of who said what, and ideas that are still current and important in understanding and creating ritual. Malinowski, Boaz on shamanic stuff and magic. Victor Turner, structure and process, and others. Good general book, again, if you're interested in having a broad pool of ideas to draw from. So that's this little video, this little pile, and I hope it's useful to you. Again, I'll put the list of books that I've drawn from in the bottom of this. Take care of yourselves now. Bye bye.